Hello, I'm Dwight Norris of fishingnetwork.com, and here we are on another wintry day here in Boston, Massachusetts, and I'll be talking about the best bass fishing times. Now, we haven't reached the springtime for most people. Maybe down south in Florida, the bass are spawning and doing all that stuff a little bit earlier than normal, but here down to probably, I don't know, the Carolinas, the fish aren't ready yet. You're gonna have to wait until about March. But the bass fishing times don't truly change. And if you've been around for as long as I have, you probably have seen many fads, fishing almanacs, talking about the lunar phases, talking about the tides, talking about all sorts of different things that affect when bass are biting. But if you know more about a bass, then you'll realize that bass will eat anything at any time. What you really want to ask is, when's the best time to get the bite? Because there are times where they bite more often, and that's important. And there's also other factors in play as well. But just to get to the nitty-gritty, the best times to go are probably something you know already. One is in the morning. Like when the sun comes up, hour before, hour after, around that time frame, perfect. And the same thing in the evening, an hour before, an hour after. Why is this? Well, it's harder to see. It's beginning of darkness, and the same way you can't see in your car because of that low level light frame hits you in your eyes just enough so it kind of blinds you. So the bait fish are blinded too. They're a little disoriented. They're going from their daytime hiding spots out into the open because it's a little safer when it's darker, but it's not quite dark yet. And the bass are waiting for that moment, and when they find you, they find you. And it's so much easier for them too, especially the larger ones, because the larger ones are lazy. They wait for the bait almost to swim into its mouth, per se. That's what it hopes. And another time is when there's a lot of bait around. If there's a huge amount of bait splashing on the surface and hitting, and there's like a bait run, kind of like when a herring go into the Charles River, all of a sudden the fish are biting. No rhyme, no reason. Just the bait's here and it's plentiful, so they're gonna fill their tummies because it's super easy to do. So you just seen two things I've told you, and those two things both involve the fact that it's easier to feed and not harder. They're not chasing after things. They're not doing all weird kind of tactics. They're not hiding behind corners. They're basically just sitting there waiting for the food to swim into its mouth. And that's really the gist of it. Yes, when the moon is bigger, more full, and pulling more on the earth, the tides are bigger. Therefore, there's more space for everybody to move around, and then the bait fish and all the other things out there get dispersed, and that makes it easier to get to the bait, and the bait becomes more plentiful because it can't hide as well because everything's flooded. It's fantastic. They like all the commotion. They like all the new surfaces that aren't usually there, and since the bait are going to the same place every day, when this new area emerges, they have to reorient themselves, because when the bait fish get disoriented, that's bad news for them. So let's go over a few things here. I'm looking at Jamaica Pond. We'll talk about that in a second. First, I talked about the fishing almanacs. There's tons of them online now. You probably remember the old Farmer's Almanac, which does have a fishing time and day. And I think you remember. It's cool. You can still buy the old ones. You can go to the website to get the new ones. They make you pay now, like a lot. And just like it was beforehand, it's just as questionable. Does it really help? Are their estimates correct? They put in a lot of different variables, and they make some estimated guesses, and sometimes they're right and sometimes they're wrong. But this may be because of many other reasons. Where you are, and all the variables which I described. And then there's the whole thing about what kind of a environment are you in? Are you in a swamps? Are you in a river? Are you in a pond? Are you in a lake? Are you in some tributary? Are you in the sea? Etc., etc., etc. And even where you're fishing from. You're fishing from shore and you're fishing from a boat. That's two different worlds. One person would say the fish aren't biting today, and the guy in the boat would say fishing was freaking awesome today. Couldn't get him off my line. Two different people, two different viewpoints, two different fishing locations, and two different outcomes. So you have to think about all these things before you take people's words for granted. You have to go along with your own thoughts and your own things you've come across. And while I have that in your mind, I'd like to present this gift I was given called a fisherman's journal, which is actually just a nice little figurine of a notebook. And as you can probably think, actually, can you actually see this? Let's put it in here, it's in the dark. Sorry about that. Let me turn on the light. Sorry about that. So it's a little bit brighter now. Here it is. And inside there are some pretty cool things. It's a statement about nothing makes a fish bigger than almost being caught. So funny. It really was big. If only I had caught it, you'd see it. And basically, is this a nice journal that you can really categorize your day and your trip, and you can actually reference this and go back and say, hey, there were several things that were going on this day that made the fish bite, and then the next day they didn't bite, and I only caught a couple. Let me write this stuff down, and I'll reference it. And over time, if you go to the same place, the same times, or a varying amount of times, and you really catalog it, you'll start to see patterns with the fish bite, the types of fish, where they are, how many they are, how many bites you get, etc., etc., etc. Because really, largemouth bass are roamers, so that's what you're going after. If you're looking for the best bass fishing times, you're going to discover things. So here's a quick little look, but let's put it really close. If you need to, stop the screen and take a look here. But I'm sure these are available somewhere. You can get a nice fishing journal to kind of gather your thoughts and figure out what's going on in your local neck of the woods, because for everybody else, it's different. Don't think because one person said everything's okay and works a certain way on this pond, the pond that's a half mile away is exactly the same. Maybe stocked with different fish, it may have different bait in there, maybe it doesn't have worms, maybe it does, maybe it has minnows, maybe it doesn't, maybe it has golden shiners, maybe it has some other type of herring, maybe it has another water source flowing through it. It's like the Charles River has many different ponds, and even a lake that it flows through before it reaches the ocean. So let's look at this thing right here. You can always trust Bassmasters, right? Bassmaster Classic. They have all the pros. Hey, this is even up to date, January 1st. Sorta. And they're talking about the best fishing times with lunar fishing calendars. Yet another thing which you can base your fishing days on. And since they are the Bassmasters, they would know the best bass fishing times for a day or a week or a month or a year. They're like the new almanac. But look at this crazy thing. This is last year, just so we can reference it. The lunar periods, and here's the lunar periods for this year. What's going on here? What's the day? The day is, wow, bad. I believe it's the 30th of January, so let's look here. Value is 17. What does that mean? It means it's a sucky day to go fishing. But guess what? I don't think so. I don't think so at all. I think it's a fantastic day. Why is it a fantastic day? Because you went outside and you went fishing. If it was a great day, you didn't have time to go fishing. Is it actually a great day for fishing for you? No, because you weren't out there. And if you're not out there, you're not catching fish. Therefore, the day sucked for you. You didn't get to go fishing. So, what does it matter what this thing says? Oh, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday last week. Oh, the fishing must have been fantastic. Jumping out of the water, jumping in people's boats. You could have hooked them without any bait. But guess what? You were busy. You were doing stuff for the weekend. You were fixing up your house. You were doing some DIY stuff. You were hanging out with your children. You were working really hard every day. Did you have time for fishing? And if you can't find time for fishing, please just go to the website, fishingnetwork.com, and get your 10-step process to go fishing at work PDF. I also have started the 10-step process to go fishing at work. I should really shorten that name. A course, which is easy to go through. And if you've been through a course before online, you'll find that you can just click through, you can watch the videos, you can read the text, you can download the video if you want to look at it somewhere else offline, maybe you're on the go, and also going to strip the audio from the video so you can listen it on audio and podcast style, and you can do that on the go. You can download it and do it while you're on your commute and you're thinking about fishing, and you'll learn about how you could be doing it. And you'll be like, wait, I have to go back to my house to get my stuff so I can try this out. That's all I'm asking you to do. Try it out just once, and I think everything will change in your life. Maybe you'll see things in a different light. And if you do want to try different things in your life to make it better, I really promote that you take action, because that's the only thing that's going to make things change. If you don't change, nothing changes. Now I've got off my soapbox here. Let's look at when the next time it's supposed to be great to go fishing. I'm guessing this is for the United States, or is it for every country? They don't really state. Maybe they presume this is for people here. So if you live in the United States and you want the next best time to go fishing, which isn't really great, 50%, you're going to go on February 4th, a Monday. And you want to do it from 11:47 a.m. to basically 1 p.m. It'll be sunny, supposedly. It's a full moon. It's a new moon, and fishing should be awesome because it's a new moon. Fantastic. But on the 19th of February, at that's late, midnight. Or basically noon to midnight, noon or midnight. You want to go on that day. So if you have time, please check it out. Now for one last stop before I end this video, let's talk about where you would want to spend the best bass fishing time that you can get and use it well. If you live in the Boston area, no doubt you've heard of Jamaica Pond. It's a nice little pond just inside of well, I kind of reference it as Chestnut Hill or Brookline, but in reality it's actually part of Roxbury. It's a nice little place. You can walk around it, and it's actually stocked every year. I think there's trout and bass and some other panfish and catfish too, I believe. And there's all kind of people fishing here with bait and stuff. So the fish are, the ones that stick around for more than a year, are very knowledgeable about any fisherman. And as you can see here, there's rowboats moving around. You can rent them from this Jamaica Pond boathouse, or if you have something else, you can go fishing as well. I've gone fishing here once or twice, but only for a little while. I don't go around in this area too often, but when I do, I obviously want to pull out my pole. Like, oh, let's go for a walk around Jamaica Pond. That's where everybody does. Now I'm thinking, as we go along the shoreline, where are the fish? So let's take a look. I wish there was a topographic map here. But as you can see, there's some interesting areas around here. As you can see here, there is a flat here, but as you can see from the dark line, it's deeper on this side, and there's a much wider and a slower degradation of the incline of the water. So it takes a longer time to go out. So this is a nice flat. And you know what that means. You see the flat all the way around here. This is where all the fish will be spawning. More away from people and on the wider and further away flats and away from other things. So right here is a good place to go deep and go shallow again. I would suspect right here would be a fantastic place to go fishing in the spring, as well as right here too. It's like there's decent amount of shade because there really isn't shade around here. It's a good flat. There's access to deep water, and there's access to more remote areas. And since that's really the only feature here on this pond, that's really important. So as close as you can get to this. It's like a shed out there, a hut. It's almost like they're going duck hunting out there. But right here is even a place for you to get out and take a cast from this rocky shore. I would work this area like a boss. Even right here on this point, that's probably fantastic. Work this area. And if you have something like this in your local pond and it doesn't have much going on for structure or islands or huge flats or deep drop-offs, or you don't have a topographic map, Google Maps works pretty well. Just take a quick look. Sometimes just the coloring of the water is enough to tell you and show you about what's going on in this pond or your pond. Why does it say bootstrap compost here? That's weird. Also, if you have a business and you want to do your Google My Business, please don't post over known areas that are completely wrong. This is going to drop their ranking a lot. I'm sure they'll find that soon. Anyway, I think that's that. Still thinks I'm a Juno. Anyway, I'm Dwight Norris of fishnetwork.com, and today we talked about the best bass fishing times in your area, and whether they're real or not, just keep it simple and use your time effectively and go fishing when you can. And if you don't have any time to go fishing, go to the website fishnetwork.com and get your 10-step process to go fishing network PDF, and keep your eyes out for the course that will be released hopefully within the month of February. Thank you.